Judo, jump! Judo, jump!
Ow! That really hurt. Who throws a shoe? Honestly.
Mike Myers.
Yeah, baby, yeah!
Elizabeth Hurley.
Don't forget these.
Oh, thanks.
Austin Powers.
Welcome back, my fellow agents. It is I, X7, your international agent of awesome. Because, well, why wouldn't I say that? And also your host of Zenorama, the podcast of heroes and monsters. Today, we are going to be reviewing the 1997 semi-hit, because it wasn't a big hit, Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery, aka Austin Powers 1. And I quite like this movie. It is my favorite of the trilogy. And it's got a great cast. It's very funny. But before we do all the things, please like, share, subscribe. Well, you do all the things before we do all the things, before we do the review. And leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about it. It's got some decent action in it too, here and there. Good stunts. So, having said all that, now, on with the show. So I did see this movie in the theaters when it was released with my friend Kyle, and later on with a young lady I was seeing at the time. The second time it was on a double bill with the Jim Carrey feature Liar Liar, which was funny but really needed an editor because they just let Jim do his shtick for far too long. Always leave him wanting more. So here we have it's set in starts out in 1967. It was only 30 years ago then. Now it's been almost 60 years. Next year would be the 60th anniversary. If they do re-release it into the theaters, I'd go see it. It's that fun. But we see the secret cabal, and they have the leader is annoyed, and he just kills a bunch of them by frickin' idiots. And there's his cat, Mr. Bigglesworth. And then we go into the credits. So the movie was released May 2nd, 1997, to mediocre. Well, it made about $67 million, $68 million. The budget was between 16 and 18 million. So it did make 3 times its money, but it was not considered a massive hit. Later on cable TV, like about a year later, it became a huge hit, which led to the next 2 movies, which I like, but not nearly as much as these for reasons I can go into. But I agree with what Roger Ebert said about Austin. But it's got a really good. He obviously whoever did the designs, the costume designs, knew mostly what they were doing. And there is Michael York as Basil Exposition in his top secret car television. And there is Mrs. Kensington, played by Mimi Rogers, who they didn't de-age her, but she was definitely a bit older at the time, but still looked great in her catsuit. And there's the big boy. This is in downtown London. They've got the swinging car there. And Austin is a international man of mystery. Obviously, he's wealthy, and he's charming, and he's just looking for danger. Electric Psychedelic Pussycat Swingers Club. That's a long name. So, but that, could be right out of there. Now, I do think, well, it looks pretty good. Directed by Jay Roach. And I believe, let me look here. I'm going to clicky on Jay. He's married to Susanna Hoffs, who is in Ming T, and also, of course, the Bengals. But he did a really good, notable work where Meet the Parents. I don't know any of these. I've only seen. Oh, he did this one. He did all 3 Austin Powers movies, so we'll go with that. So it's a swinging shindig, baby, and then he punches the girl in the face. It's a man, baby, and he gets shot by Dr. Evil himself. We don't see Dr. Evil's face for quite some time. Cryogenic freezing beginning. They shoot at it. It blasts off. There is Mr. Bigglesworth then. Now, 30 years later, in Colorado Springs, Colorado. I don't know. I guess there's probably NORAD there. There is Opie Cunningham's little brother. That would be where'd he go there? Clint Howard. Yes, that's he was in Gentleman and several episodes of Andy Griffith, and also he was Baylock in the Corbomite Maneuver. He's like, it's coming down, looks like Big Boy. So this was a very common thing in 60s movies. This is an homage, probably influenced most by Matt Helm and also In Like Flint, because those were lighter movies about spies, which were more, James Bond was obviously also the inspiration for it, but had much more tongue-in-cheek. London, England. Now we find out the Ministry of Defense. So the general there has gone over to England, and they're going to cryogenic storage facility. There's Gary Coleman's in there, and Vanilla Ice should be still in there. I don't know why they ever froze him out or froze him out. And there's Austin, and so there's one of the things about this is they take the joke as far as they can, and then add about 30 more seconds. The movie would have been, it only runs 89 minutes, but it would have been about 10 minutes shorter if they stopped. But it works for the most part. He has no internal monologue, and there's his new assistant, Miss Kensington, who is Vanessa. We never find out what Mrs. Kensington, her name was, but that's Miss Kensington. He has no internal monologue. Danger's his middle name. This is a running gag. And then so is the Dancing with Ming T, who perform in the movie, or at least there's videos for Ming T or for BBC One, which is a pretty great little song. And Austin's origins came from him performing with Ming T. And that is Vanessa, that's Susanna Hoffs right there, who was not my favorite Bengal. I mean, I like all of them. But, if you ever listen to the Saw Doctor's song about the Bengals, you'll understand. Somewhere outside Las Vegas, which is there. There is Mustafa, an uncredited Will Ferrell. And now this is what's happened to Mr. Bigglesworth has now turned into a Sphinx. I have a story about Bigglesworth, but it's not appropriate here. So he tries to kill Mustafa. Unfortunately, he's just very badly burned. And they finally have to shoot him. Frau Farbissina? Not Frau Blucher, but that is, let's see, Mindy Sterling, who's hilarious. And that is the now disgraced Joe Son, who's, well, you can look him up if you want to. He wasn't then, but he is now. And Paddy O'Brien, it's Paul Dillon as Paddy O'Brien, the ex-Irish assassin, who always leaves charms there, but they're always after his lucky charms, which, riffs on, oh, I should put that in here right now. Let's just do that.
Catch that leprechaun. He's got lucky charms. They're magically delicious.
Always after me Lucky Charms, the frosted oat cereal with sweet surprises. Hearts, moons, stars, clovers. See? Magically delicious. They're coming. I'll make a tunnel.
Frosted Lucky Charms with sweet surprises.
Magically delicious.
And there is number 2, and that's his name, number 2. That's Robert Wagner, and he's excellent. He's just hilarious. The whole movie's just filled with great. And Virtucon has a ton of business. They're legitimate, but Dr. Evil is evil, and he can't see it. So he's going to blackmail the world. He tries with, having Prince Charles having an affair, which, of course, already happened, and then a laser to punch holes in the ozone layer, which has already happened, and now they're just going to hijack some nuclear weapons. First he says $1 million, and then he says 100 billion. That is a groovy jet, which has to be a model because you wouldn't paint a real jet. And they might have done it with CG, but I don't know or care. So she's having him fill out indemnity form so he won't sue the government for working with them. And is hitting on Vanessa, and she's over it. I've left out a lot of the sex stuff because it's funny when you're watching it, but in a review. And now we meet Scotty, that's Seth Green there, who we know from watching Buffy as the werewolf, whose name I don't remember anymore. And then, he was in, of course, Josie and the Pussycats, because du jour means never having to say you're evil. And now we're in Las Vegas. And so now she's kind of warming up to him and calls her a nerd. And yeah, there were probably really attractive nerds when I was in high school that I missed. He's kissing his gun, and she pulls out probably a Glock, but what do I know? And now he's just charming people as he walks by. And there's number 2 playing blackjack. And he's using a spy cam, but that's a lot of Richie Cunningham and his wife Oprah. I mean, number 2 and a confidential. A lot of vagina. And she's played by, where is she? Fabiana Udenio. And apparently she is an Italian-Argentine actress. Let's see if she's done anything else. RoboCop 2, Quantum Leap. I have seen her in a couple of things. Cheers as Maid. Walker and Renegade. Babylon 5, 3 episodes as Adira Tyree. Well done. This was before that. So as Amazon. That was a movie or a show? Anyway, she's very funny. Smoking a clove cigarette. Gross. So he goes in after to the bathroom, but number 2 is gone. And there's Tom Arnold, who was ubiquitous at this time. It's not his fault who he was married to, but he was just everywhere. And this Agent Frog accidentally guessed what was going to happen here. So shout out to you, Agent Frog. Another interstitial. And now he's going to blackmail him for $100 billion. And this laugh is one of those things that goes on and on. And now Mrs. Kensington's London flat. So this is something they would repeat for the next 2 movies, and blocking various parts of human anatomy with other items, fingers, fruit, etc. and so on. They do it again. They repeat it again at the end of the movie. Spoiler alert. It's just really a fun movie. I mean, it's not serious, but they treat it very seriously, so that really helps. There's headquarters. Overcompensating there, Austin. And yeah. So now he was, shown to be a photographer. And so and then he decides to take Vanessa out of the town, breaks the 4th wall to tell us, welcome Mr. Burt Bacharach, who sings What the World Needs Now is Love, Sweet Love. Now, he has written literally a shit ton of songs, and the only one I can think of just find one. But he did write the Stalker song, Always Something There to Remind Me. But they're just scooting downtown and in Las Vegas on a double-decker bus, Her Majesty's Vegas Tours. Now, I would assume that they know where to go where they don't run into anything. But Austin, they're dancing, and he was able to get Burt Bacharach. So they go through a montage there, and Vanessa's finally having fun, and she is drunk. And Austin, she makes a move on him, and he says, it's not right, you're drunk. And then she wants to know about her mother, and then promptly falls asleep. And then Basil calls America Online. I just thought that was hilarious. So he sends Austin out to do some reconnaissance at Alata Fachina's flat or penthouse. And he finds out that Verchicon was responsible for Carrot Top, apparently, so they need to be destroyed for that. And there's Project Vulcan, yeah. And there she is. And, she finds out who he is because he's got a card with his name on it and male symbol. Extreme relaxation. And now they figured Frau Bluka, Frau Farbissina has figured out a way to kill Austin with the fembots, who are not the original fembots, because Jamie Summers and Steve Austin, not Stone Cold, but the real Steve Austin, defeated them, because Steve Austin, the wrestler, was Steve Williams, who was also Dr. Death, but they were 2 different people. But they just blow them apart. As you can see, they're formidably armed. And that is a very clever joke, I thought. British makeshift headquarters. And now she finds out that he slept with a lot of vagina. And now it's time for our intermission and station identification. You are watching Xenorama, the podcast of heroes and monsters on KXNO, part of the Xenorama Broadcasting Network. We now return you to our regularly scheduled program. Austin has assumed that Mrs. Exposition is a man and does the old punch him in the face. And I probably should have put the intermission right here, but I did not. So we go to group, and that is Princess Leia herself, Carrie Fisher, the late Carrie Fisher. And she's hilarious here. They're in therapy because he's trying to kill him, and he's right. So they go through his origin about his father, making like he invented the question mark. It's just funny in weird ways. And then they're like, okay, we got to go. Let's wrap it up. And then this is where they have their confrontation about him sleeping with a lot of vagina. And he's like, no, but he did it because, she's a good looking woman. And she's like, nope, Austin, you're out of luck. You better learn. So this is where we get the introspective part. So up until Austin has been the joke of the movie because he's the central, him being out of time. Now we've seen tons of movies, people being out of time, time travelers, etc. But here he's, suddenly realizes that things have changed. And so he does some research. He tries to listen to a CD and he watches the moon landing. And then she's like, you've really missed a lot in 30 years. They kind of do this with Captain America, some 15 or 20 years later, which we'll get to because I really do think the first Avenger is one of the better ones. And it's definitely the best Captain America. I mean, yeah, well, obviously, they really tried. And we'll get to Cap from 1992 or so, which I liked as well. But anyway, I digress. So this is just funny. My mother loved him. So there they go to tour the Virtucon headquarters. And that's Bolton. And they're dressed up. I don't even know what that's supposed to be. But, they make up. And, you'll notice the door to the restricted area. So then they go, but he sees right through them. Judo chop. And, this was an extended sequence, which is funny because he doesn't get out of the way. And the restricted area site, keep out. But they've been captured. Random task clunks them in there. Both captured. So they put some money in there. Look at that. And again, this is all real. It's not CGI. It's not a green screen. Welcome to my underground lair. And so he's telling them what's going to happen to him if they don't give him his $100 billion. That's going to kill everybody, and probably everybody. Quasi-futuristic clothing, which they all wore, and it's cool. It really is. Meet Daddy's nemesis. and Scott's right. And then we get that, no, I expect them to die. Sharks with frickin' laser beams. Nope. What? Shh. And then they go through the whole shh thing, which would become a zip it in the next two movies. I believe in the next two movies, maybe. Judo chop. Blinds him. He falls in there. The mildly annoyed bad, ill-tempered sea bass eat his head. So he goes through 3 jokes of that and then gonna exit. So they've made up and let's repair. He's doing this thing forever. I mean, it's just, you can't do his finger in the mouth thing. Why he's wearing it and nobody else is beyond me. Uh-oh, Austin's running into the fembots. He's not nearly strong enough to take them on. Or is he? Not like the $6 million man and the Bionic Woman. They gas him. And in a much more pleasant way than that sounds. There's the nuclear warhead. He fell off his chair. I've got to get Dr. Evil. And she's given him the once over twice. Yes, that is an X reference. You can't resist us. No, baby. You can't resist me. And he can't. They all fry their circuits. And of course, Vanessa runs into him and he's working their mojo. And these guys in the background are very much enjoying Austin's show. She tells him he tells the men that they don't have have to be at attention or stand down. She says the same thing. So it's, again, there's sexual humor, but it's funny. Launch the subterranean probe. This guy just counts. And now we hear Danger Man, Secret Agent Man, which is, the soundtrack's great for the most part. Lots of great stunts. And but he's running around like a loon because they're shooting at him. Judo chop, judo chop. In the next movie, he does a judo kick, and anyone that knows judo knows that there's not really real kicks. It's mostly throwing and throwing. Abort, abort. Everyone's happy. Yatta! And he's got to get away, but he's got to summon up Mr. Bigglesworth. And they have this discussion. Freedom failed. It's probably closer than we want to think now. And he's true. Nothing more pathetic than an aging hipster. Or just take out the word aging. Shut your cake hole. And Alada grabs Vanessa. Halstead grabs Scott, and he's like, yeah, kill the little bastard. See what I care. Number 2 shows up with the remnants of a fembot. I mean, that's something that they just don't even say anything about. He's like, number 2 gets incinerated, or does he? Judo chop! But self-destruct is on because they always have a self-destruct. Every secret lair of a villain has a self-destruct. I would assume that Batman probably has a self-destruct for the Bat Cave in case somebody gets in there, or at least wiping out everything, because who knows. There he goes. He takes off. Move it, alley-oop. Crunch. But Vanessa just puts it into gear no matter what. Then we get a stock footage explosion. 3 months later, they're married. Now, this is completely undone in the following movie, which also annoyed me. And now he's got a Casio instead. And they're all naked and doing this again. She's been made a full agent. Staring at his teeth. Oh, champagne. And guess who shows up? I keep wanting to say odd job, but it's random task. Who throws a shoe? Honestly. I told you it was a running gag. There's Uranus, but that's not Uranus. So this is how the movie ends. We're going to leave it here on Mr. Bigglesworth being frozen. So they were planning on a sequel. And they do have on the DVD and VHS extra scenes. They have the Blu-ray as, what happened. A lot of Vagina moved to LA or somewhere and changed her name to Sandy. But this is it. That's the end. And if you're leaving, you know what to do.
Toodoo! Toodoo! Hunt the intruders tomorrow. Come now. We will go to the top. I must rest.
All right, my fellow agents, tomorrow we do have 4 more episodes of The Phantom 2040, which has turned into just an excellent show now that I've watched it, the second time all the way through. And I'm looking forward to it. So, having said all that, I hope you have enjoyed it. And until our next assignment, this is X7 signing off and phasing out. And remember, behave.
A young boy survives to swear an oath. I swear to devote my life to the destruction of piracy and injustice. My sons and their sons shall follow me.